Hey folks, it's Cody Stoffer with Playmakers Corner, here to tell you about Code Red Coaching. Competing in athletics means you've lifted the weights, you've watched film, and you've got the passion. Problem is, that's what everyone else in the state has done. Perfect your game by honing in on your mental performance with Code Red Coaching. Whether you are a team or an individual, Code Red Coaching has the tools to create mentally solid habits and set up you or your team for success. Find Code Red Coaching at coderedcoaching.com or call 720-979-1914 to learn more today. That's coderedcoaching.com or 720-979-1914 today. Now back to the show.
My name's Jaden Thomas. I play at slot receiver, and I have committed to New Mexico State University, and you're listening to Playmakers Corner.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. We're returning back to a classic series, one that I hold very dear and enjoy quite a bit here. I'm your host for this episode, Cody Stoffer, and I am joined here by a very special guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself, where you're from, what position you play, and just kind of the rundown on that.
Hello, my name is Jaden Thomas. I play running back and slot receiver at Windsor High School. And I'm just happy to be here, and I thank Cody for letting me be on the show.
Absolutely, and we're all happy to have you. This is a series that, we think is very important for sharing athletes' story and, kind of getting your side of things, as far as, maybe it impacts the way that we evaluated something or something like that. So it gives the athletes a chance to talk to that and stuff. But, before we get into the numbers and the rubrics and all that stuff, we want to get to know you and just kind of your relationship with sports and ask you, what is your favorite sports memory or experience playing sports? This could be, from this past season, this, fall 2022 season. This could be another sport if you have a more fond memory there, or it could be like the memory that sparked your passion, whatever. What is your favorite sports memory of playing?
I would definitely say my favorite sports memory would have to be my first ever year in Cold Creek, playing as a young dude when we won the state title in Denver. That was definitely one of the best moments of my life, because that was like the first time I've ever played with my friends and stuff, and we were like, we thought a lot of ourselves, and it was just fun to play with each other, and we won the state title, and it was a big deal to all of us. So that was kind of what kicked off my football journey.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome experience, getting to play with people that you like and winning. So that definitely helps for sure.
Yeah,
that's
fun.
A pretty good one. And then we assume if you play sports for the most part, most of us that have played sports are also sports fans. So I guess, what is your favorite sport viewing experience? This could be a live game that you attended that you had a great time at. This could be, watching like siblings play, or this could be, watching a game on television that you just really distinctly remember.
I'd say the best sports viewing that I've had is when the Broncos won that Super Bowl with Peyton Manning back in 2016, I believe. Yeah, we went to a game that year, and that was just super fun to watch because that offense was crazy that year, and they had a great defense too, and they were a good team. So that was probably the best sports game I've ever been to in my life, and it was late in the season too, and they were kicking butt. So I mean, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, that was a fun year. One that seems really far away now, and oddly enough, I forgot to timestamp this. We are recording this on the 12th of February, which is the Super Bowl here. And Jaden, you and I got to talk about it a little bit, but since we're on the topic, who do you got for the Super Bowl as of today, this recording?
I told you, and I'm going to say the same thing. I think Patrick Mahomes is really going to expose that defense tonight. He's been there before. Most of that team's been there before. They have experience in the Super Bowl. I told you that the Eagles, they had the easiest schedule out of the entire NFL this year. And I like Jalen Hurts, man, but he's young, and I just think this is where Patty Mahomes' experience is going to shine.
Yeah, I like that. And, with that breakdown, who knows? Maybe you have a future in analyst stuff as well. So maybe we'll see you on the media side of things way, way down the road.
Yeah,
but, kind of transitioning a little bit here into more your game and stuff, I guess, who is someone or an athlete that you say that you try and model your game after? I mean, you're name dropping these names in the NFL, so I know that you know guys, and I don't know if there is a player growing up that you're like, yeah, I want to play like that athlete or that tailback, or even in high school, somebody that you've seen in the NFL or on the college level, and you're like, yeah, I want to replicate that style of play in my game.
Yeah, well, I mean, that player would definitely have to be Christian McCaffrey. He's been my idol growing up ever since I was young, and I love him because, he's versatile. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's a great player, and ever since he was at Stanford, I've loved him, and he's just been, that player that I want my game to look like, and I'm, doing my best to do that, but, it's hard because he's Christian McCaffrey. He's one of the best players in the league, so.
I still think that's a great goal to aim for, and I think that, you are a very versatile player. I think that was pretty reflected in our grades here. You ranked overall average in the top half of receiving, especially given the opportunities that you had and stuff. And, the skill was definitely there. So I think that you do a pretty good job. And man, just your speed and explosiveness it popped right off the film when we watched it. And I guess, listening, if you had a chance to our evaluation of your film, what was kind of your reaction to that?
Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, so I guess I'm just curious on what your reaction was to our evaluation and where we had you and being the number 4 ranked running back in this senior class, according to us here at PMC.
Yeah, I thought the ranking was great. I mean, you guys saw everything that everyone else saw, the explosiveness. I'd say that's a huge part of my game, my quickness, and all my speed. But I was a little shocked on the receiving part, I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like receiving is one of the best parts of my game. Which you're right, I didn't have much throwing as far as the offense goes. But I think because at New Mexico State I want to be playing slot receiver, so I think receiving is a huge part of my game, and that's just kind of the big part that I try to put in there too, along with the speed and all the rushes.
Yeah, and the skill is definitely there, and I agree that that's going to be a place where you're going to have a lot of opportunity. And the only thing that kind of hampered it, I would say, is just the volume, which we try and point that out, that's not really that's not up to the individual players, of course. And any chances that we had to watch the film and rewatch it as many times as we could is always good. But volume is definitely something considered, and like I said, that wasn't really in your control there. But I'm glad that you got to look at those takeaways and stuff, and kind of just hear an outside perspective, I guess. And then obviously we had, based off of what Gideon was talking about as well, since he got to see you in person, and he put in a really strong word to very much look into entire game film of yours. And I'm glad that we did, because I mean, it was really refreshing. Usually Colorado running, this is like one of the fastest classes we've ever had. And so, I think that not only did you fit that bill, but you exceeded it. I'm very excited to see what you're able to do at New Mexico State. But before we jump into that, I guess, you already kind of talked about your explosiveness and your receiving. Are there any other qualities that you think, from your perspective, really separates you from not only other running backs, in the northern Colorado region, but in the Colorado region, or just in the country, honestly, things that you pride yourself on that, you definitely feel strong about that are in your bag?
I'd have to say one thing I'm pretty good at is I got pretty good vision. I do a lot of drills in the off season of finding the right cut. I do a lot of drills where I'm running and I gotta go a certain way off of where the defender goes in the off season. So I mean, I pride myself on being able to have good vision when I'm running the ball, finding the right hole, and getting as many yards as I can when I hit the hole with my burst. So I'd say that's one thing that separates me.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, we talked about it in the film eval, but that one run that you had this season against Meade, I think is just such a good example of that, because even from a film perspective, it's like, where is the hole on this play? And you just showed great patience. And then, like you said, once you see it, your explosiveness really just gets you there in time. And you look at our overall scores of your vision, and I believe that it averages out to an 8.85, I want to say is right in the middle. So looking at like 4-star level vision just right here in Colorado, which is awesome. And, definitely that did pop out. So I'm glad that you brought that back up. And I guess you said that that's something that you work on in the off season. What are some like resources that you use to improve as an athlete or as a tailback, wide receiver, etc.? What are some things like working with teammates or any specific coaching?
Yeah, my coaches and my teammates, we would hit the field a lot. Me and my best friend Jaden Thomas, he's one of my teammates, and he's a really great athlete too for us. But we'd go to the field a lot. We would do a lot of drills together. But a big resource I use is his name's Paul Annenson. He's at Simple Speed Coach it's called. But he played college football, and he does a lot of drills with me in the off season. As a guy that was a return specialist and a slot receiver like me, he does a lot of those type of drills, and he helps me out a ton. So I got to give props to him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we want to kind of put on and, share those good resources and just help Colorado take a step forward in general. And yeah, I mean, Chase, I had a lot of fun calling y'all's backfield TNT, that Thomas and Thomas connection. And I mean, I guess let's kind of talk about that and just like what were kind of the expectations heading into this season, and what were some things that you think went well for Windsor this year, and what are some things that you think are good lessons for maybe the next generation of players to learn from, or the next class to learn from?
Yeah, so I'd say, the expectation, well, to start, I switched to tailback mainly as my position because I used to be a wing back. I used to run it from the side, but we switched up our offense, which was great, I feel like. But yeah, I loved getting the ball from back there, because I had better vision of where the hole was, and I wasn't totally running to the side. I could switch sides easy if I had to. But the expectation this year was just make the playoffs. That was the starting goal that we wanted, and we did it. We had a really young team this year. We had quite a bit of injuries that took some guys from us. So, it was good getting those young guys in there and getting them experience, which I think is going to help them for, next years to come because those guys have that varsity experience yet. But, I'd say one thing that held us back was, just being that young. We played against some great teams in Colorado, and they had a lot of talent. And, our young guys, they played their heart out, but, it's hard to compete against some of those guys we played against, So I just feel like we shocked some faces this year. We made it to the second round of playoffs. We played against Broomfield, and they're a great team. Obviously, they had a great season. And Cole LaCrue, he was a great player. He was fun to watch this year. But yeah, I'd say that's something that we did well and we could learn on for the next seasons.
Absolutely, and I think that something that really sticks out to me is thinking about last year. Making the playoffs at 4-6, a lot of people were, wondering like, what is this Windsor team all about? And you draw what I think was a very talented senior heavy Bear Creek team in that first round last year. So what was it like, going from losing in the first round of the playoffs to Bear Creek to then beating Bear Creek in the first round of the playoffs this year? I mean, that's got to be nice because I mean it's poetic in a way too, narrative wise. So what was that feeling like, and what were some things that you think were learned from that first playoff loss, from that 2021 season that helped you then overcome in this first round in the 2022 season that you think other players could apply to their programs?
There was a lot of tension in that matchup that week. Yeah, we were, we didn't like losing to them in the first round of playoffs last year. There was a rivalry there a little bit the next time we met. And I would say, for the seniors this year that lost last year, we came together that week and we really got the team going, because we were not going to lose to them that week because of what we felt last year. So I'd say just the how the team came together in practice that week and how the seniors led it, was a great week. We loved that.
Nothing really beats a great week of practice that then leads to a victory. So I'm glad that you got to experience that. And, that was a solid Bear Creek team and one that was also a bit on the younger side. So who knows, maybe we'll get Windsor Bear Creek a third year in a row in the playoffs and form like a pseudo rivalry out of that. But, I think that that's awesome. And, I guess, for just a brief moment before we transition to what that next phase of your life looks like, what are some players that, we here at PMC should keep an ear out for and people in Colorado should kind of have on their radar for Windsor players for this next coming season here?
Yeah, I would say, we had a young guard. His name's Deacon. He's a really big kid, and he came in as a freshman this year, and he actually kicked butt. But he's gonna be a big dude, and he is, I don't know if you remember, Windsor had a guy named Zach Watts, but he's gonna be exactly the same type of player Zach was, and he ended up going D1, and he's doing great at Wyoming right now. But Deacon's gonna be, I would say he's the next big player to come out of Windsor for sure.
Hey, we appreciate having our ears to the ground because, that while those guys do put in all that work up front, they do get lost in a shuffle a little bit, those guards, tackles, and centers. So much love to the big guys up front. I appreciate you pointing that out, and we will keep an eye out on Deacon for sure, and as well as, some of those guys that are going to be asked to, replace your production here because you did make a commitment to play football on the next level. If you want to talk about that, and I guess what was that journey like, and I guess why New Mexico State?
Yeah, so Coach Nate Drawling got a hold of me one day. He's just like, hey, we really love your film. We love your speed, we love your versatility, and we want to get you down here. And when I went down there, I loved it. The atmosphere was great. They just got Coach Kill, Jerry Kill. He completely flipped that program around. He's changed the whole culture, and I loved it. I was all in, because something very special is happening down there, and I just wanted to be a part of it. They made bowl game last year. They won the bowl game. It's rising up. The atmosphere is going up. So I'm all in for it. I want to be a part of it, and yeah.
No, that's awesome. And I mean, that sounds like an awesome opportunity. I definitely think that, I think that the sky's the limit for your opportunities there. And I think that, I kind of talked about it on the episode too, that, your ability to also be just an explosive athlete on multiple facets of the field. And you can be an X factor, whether you're catching the ball, whether you're running the ball, especially in this modern day of football. Slot receivers, they're running a lot of jet sweeps, and you clearly have the vision for that, and you'll have opportunities on screens as well as, special teams and stuff. I just think that your versatility, look, it was the reason that they were so interested in you, and versatility in general is just a great way to get recruited. So, for any of our younger listeners, just try and be good at everything. There's a reason that our rubric reflects versatility, and, I'm glad that you got that opportunity from that. And I guess, while they are a program on the rise, I guess what I want to say is, what was the recruiting process like? I mean, obviously there had to be other schools that were kind of interested. And I guess, what are some takeaways that you just have from recruiting in general and things that you maybe wish you knew before the process started?
Yeah. So, it took a little while, but, eventually schools started hitting me up. New Mexico State, they hit me up, and then after that, other schools from around Colorado and around, other states around close to Colorado, they started hitting me up. And one thing that I would say I wish I knew before, going into it is how much you just need to stay, connected to the recruiting process, because if you know, a lot of coaches are going to hit you up at once, and you need to stay into it. Like, you need to stay in contact with all of them, you know, as much as possible. You know, and you need to it's kind of like, you know, you're advertising yourself. You know, you just need to put yourself out there as much as you can. And I think that'll help out, because there was times when I wish I would have put myself out there a little more than I did, but you know what, it ended up working out for me in the end. I got lucky, but that's one thing I would say.
Yeah, just kind of stick to it, you know, and I know from a lot of people it is kind of exhausting, but you really do got to promote yourself. And I mean, at the end of the day, you got to believe in yourself too. And, you know, obviously you got that going. I know that, you know, with high school, confidence can be a fluctuating thing, but you know, if you're recruiting, you really got to believe that you could be, you know, the next Bijan Robinson or whatever, you know. So you got to really market yourself and do everything that you can. So I just want to echo that. And you know, with your sights set on New Mexico State, what are some things that you are going to work on gridiron wise before you get there? You know, I know that we talked about some things that we might focus on. They probably talked about to you about some things that they might want to see. But I guess, what does that all shake out for you? What does the offseason leading up to New Mexico State mean to you, and what are your focuses?
Yeah, so I'd say, you know, one focus would definitely be, you know, I'd like to gain, you know, 8-10 pounds before I get there. You know, I'm at about 176 right now. I'd like to be about 185. You know, put on a little weight, which I think will happen naturally as I grow. But and then another thing, I'm just, you know, a lot of punt returns this summer. A lot of punt returns. You know, I'm gonna bring the machine out there and just take hundreds of punt returns, because you know, I think that's a big thing that they're looking at me like as soon as I get there. You know, punt returner. So I'm gonna be taking, which I've took a lot of punts in my high school career, so I know how it works. But yeah, I'd say a lot of punt returns.
No, and I'm glad that you shared that insight as far as, you know, the quickest way to get on the field. And it's a very overlooked thing, is what I will say, is that, you know, special teams is a facet of the game. And if you're good at it, then you're going to find a way to get on the field. And so that's nice to hear that you not only have like a focus that's, you know, lift weights, get bigger, eat more, and stuff like that. So because I mean, let's be real, that's like everyone's focus heading into college, right? More or less for college football is to get bigger and just be more lean and stuff. That almost applies to every prospect in the history of anything. But to hear that specifically you're focusing on that punt returning and doing that, I think that is, you know, that's a good thing that you have something to specifically focus on skill wise, and that's applicable in game. So I think those are great goals, and obviously wish you the best of luck in both of those things. And I guess now with high school ball over and you're transitioning to college, and you know, you have these things in mind to work on, what are your goals for college football? Are you trying to start as soon as possible? Are you trying to, you know, can contribute to another bowl winning game kind of team, or, you know, I know that, or earning more of a scholarship, I guess. Like, what is your focus heading into New Mexico State?
Yeah, so I would definitely say a goal is for sure get on the field however I can, which that may be punt returner, that may be slot receiver. We'll see, but for sure get on the field any chance I get. You know, I got to take advantage of it. You know, I got to be ready for that moment. But yeah, as far as New Mexico State football, I would definitely say, you know, we're trying to get to another bowl, and you know, we're trying to put New Mexico State on the map. I think they did a really good job of that last year, but this year, you know, is an even bigger step forward, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I think that there's obviously things that you want to achieve as a college athlete, and I think that you know, you got some good things lined up. And I guess this is a little bit, I mean, you could argue it's on topic, you could argue it's off topic, but do you know or have any idea what you might be interested in studying while you're there?
You know what? That is actually one thing that I'm not super clear of right now. I think I might be switching my degree a few times there.
Hey, no worries. As long as you figure it out, and I guess something to let you know as a college alum is everyone kind of moves at their own pace. I have some friends that are going to be graduating in their 7th year. I have some friends that, graduate like myself. I graduated in 3 years. So, there's a wide range. Everyone's going to expect, the quote unquote stereotype is to graduate in 4 years, but just know everyone's, kind of paths look different, and you might stumble into like a red shirt or something like that too, and or a gray shirt. There's all kinds of possibilities. So I'd say just try a little bit of everything and things that'll interest you there. As someone who's graduated and has some advice to offer, just kind of get a feel for it. And yeah, I guess with me passing a little bit of advice on to you, what is some advice that you would pass on to upcoming high school athletes, whether, these are middle schoolers that are going into high school, or maybe these athletes are already in high school and, maybe they're going through the recruiting process, or, they're trying to figure out how to balance like school and athleticism and, competition and stuff like that. What is just some advice you'd give, like if you had like a younger sibling going through the process of high school sports, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to keep their grades up and really get that GPA up, because I was actually really surprised on the amount of money that you can get in a scholarship with just through academics. And I think that was a really big part of it for me, because I have a 3.98 GPA, so I'm doing pretty good there, and I got
pretty smart
a bit
guy.
of money off of that. So I would say that's a big part for getting, if you want to go to college and get scholarships for future athletes.
I'm glad that you brought that up too, because I mean, if you're an athlete who's smart and, maybe you don't get a full ride through athletics, but, it's a business. You talked about it. Everyone talks about recruiting. It's a business. And so, if a school really wants you, they try and package something together for you, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize, even if you go per se like the D2 route, they don't give out full scholarships to athletes for athletics, but if you have good academics, they can tie together a pretty affordable deal depending on where your GPA is at. So I think that is fantastic advice. I cannot echo it enough. Get your grades up because I mean, look, there's athletes, and even an athlete of your skill and your explosiveness and versatility, if you had a 1.98, that phone is probably not ringing, just because the team GPA matters, and if you can't get your GPA up and do the student part of student athlete there, it makes you hard to recruit. So be like Jaden on and off the field. 3.9 GPA. Congratulations. That is awesome. I have to give you some kudos there.
Thank you. Definitely have to give my dad some kudos too. He was on my butt a lot about that.
Hey, we love it, and that's their job, right? As parents, is to bring out the best in you. And you shouted out your pops here, and here's I guess now that we're here at the end of the interview, more or less, I just want to give the time, because we strongly believe here at PMC, it takes a village. There's a support system behind every great athlete, every great person. And we just want to give you the floor here and take as much time as you need to shout out anybody who's been important to your academic or athletic career that you'd like to thank on the show. This would include friends, families, coaches, fellow players, or whoever. Go ahead and just rattle them off as much time as you need.
Yeah, so I'd definitely like to, thank my family, my dad and my mom. They've supported me my whole life, and they believe in me as much as anybody. So really got to thank them. They've helped me out with everything from schoolwork to even practices to, everything being an athlete. And I just really appreciate them. My sisters, they were athletes too, and they supported me through all that. And they worked out with me sometimes when I didn't have friends available. They did what was needed. And, my friends and me, we're all very good athletes, and we're all very competitive with each other. And I think that really helped us through the journey, because there was a lot of games that we played against each other, and, we got out and got active and worked out, and it was really fun. And, I'm just really thankful for those two groups, because I think they've really helped me through the journey, and I would not be here without them.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds like a great sports system and a similar one that we hear from a lot of athletes. And I guess, I'm gonna kind of steal this bit from other pods that I heard, but if you want to go ahead and I mean, look, you're a aspiring college athlete now, which like you said, it's a bit of a business and it's a bit of a brand. So where can the listeners find you as far as social medias and whatnot?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and um, JT Thomas 22 is my Instagram. You can find me there, and Twitter also. It's the same exact username, JT Thomas 22. So if you want to follow me, those are my two social medias.
Perfect. And hopefully you get a couple extra follows and during that process hopefully stumble across some PMC posts that we were able to edit you in and Jaden, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time and just joining us here on the show and getting to talk some ball and getting to know you as well. We are very excited for your opportunity here. And, we believe in you here and know you can do it as long as you put your mind to it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cody. I appreciate everything you guys have said, and I'll continue to follow you guys' Playmakers Corner.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And once again, everybody, make sure to follow Jaden there on those social medias. And while you're at it, go ahead and find us on social media. We are on Instagram and Twitter as well at Playmakers Corner or at Playmaker Corner on Twitter. We're also on Facebook and TikTok here where, Jaden does already have a TikTok out. So go ahead and hunt us on there at Playmakers Corner and give us a follow on all of those. Go ahead and like all of our stuff, review, and comment and interact with us as well. We appreciate all the interactions. So make sure to find us on all of there. We also post our episodes. If you're listening to this one, you might be listening on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, or potentially YouTube. So thank you for tuning in through all of those different platforms. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, or whatever you have to do to get notifications for all of our latest episodes from all of those sources. We also hope to be returning to our Twitch streams as well. So stay tuned for all of that as well as future episodes and more interviews that are sure to be coming out. But I have been your host for this episode, Cody Stauffer, and I'll be seeing you around.